What's up, everyone? Excited to give you this breakdown of Unity Software, ticker U. This stock, for those that don't know, is a video game company. They also are, in the virtual reality space as well, which has recently garnered some attention. But their popular video games are Cuphead, Pokemon Go, Fall Guys, just to name a few. So they're definitely very popular within the gaming space. But with that being said, what I'm going to cover today is some search trends I'm seeing. I'll cover short interest. I'll cover the chart, give a price prediction. I'll also cover some seasonality trends, just showing you which months of the stock does best in, which months the stock does poorly in historically. And then I will go over some financials and growth metrics. With that being said, I'll jump right into it. So, for those that don't know, Unity's shares were, extremely popular after they IPO'd in 2020. And obviously, search volume had topped out back then. Obviously, shares were much higher then. And we've seen a couple spikes since then, as which have coincided with share prices moving higher. And currently, we're only about 62% of that total high for search volume. So search volume could increase by 40% and we would not even be making new highs for search volume. So what does this tell me? This tells me that search volume has a lot of room to move higher, which would obviously be a bullish news event or just really general event for the stock and could help prop up shares, especially given that the stock has been known to have a pretty large retail following. So, with that being said, I will jump into a couple things I'm seeing in terms of insider trading. So, over the past 4 quarters, we have seen insiders sell down shares in each of the past quarter, and the largest sells have really came in Q2 of 2023. So, the current quarter we're in right now. As you can see, about a 500,000 shares have been sold. Also, I'll cover this one point. Jim Cramer put a buy rating on the stock a couple weeks ago. You can kind of take this for what you want. Some people would say that's a bad thing. Some people would say it's a good thing. All I am is simply reporting it to you. So definitely interesting to see that here, though. Maybe if we get a short squeeze from Unity, Jim Cramer's more likely to talk about it, which could obviously give more exposure to the stock. But that's how I'm thinking about it. And when we think about short squeeze, let's look at a couple metrics here. So percent of the float that it's short is almost 10% here, which is definitely pretty high. I wouldn't say it's GME, AMC level in terms of short interest, but it's up there. In terms of data days to cover, it's 2.2, and typically the number for days to cover is about 10. That would kind of signal a short squeeze is possible or somewhat likely. So not super high there. And for those that don't know, basically this just means it would take 2.2 days of average volume to cover the amount of shorts that are out in the market right now. All right, so let's look at the chart. So obviously, over the past couple of days, we've seen shares move higher, but I do see a pretty significant resistance level that's kind of lying in the way of the bulls. So this $42 resistance level is where shares had topped out in February. It's also where shares had topped out in December. With that being said, this level could continue to act as resistance for the stock. Obviously, today we came up to this level and rejected and moved lower. Will this be a complete top for the stock? Probably not, but it's definitely worth at least looking at, especially if you have some calls, you have some puts, whatever it may be. Also, shares are overbought according to RSI. And basically that just means that there's been a significant amount of buying demand, and usually when shares become overbought, they tend to pull back. And let's just take a look at history to see if that happens. So shares were near overbought at 65 RSI. 70 is overbought technically. So we came up to 65 RSI, moved lower, as you can see over the next couple of days. And then we also were overbought back in February and obviously moved lower in the coming weeks. And then we were overbought in December and then obviously moved lower in the coming weeks. With that being said, it's not the end all be all, but it definitely is worth noting that the stock has reacted pretty negatively to overbought conditions throughout, in RSI. So definitely not a bullish sign there, and I would be a little cautious in terms of that. But like any stock, any single news event, bullish news event, can send shares rocketing higher based on fundamentals. So, and I'll cover fundamentals in a second here. But in terms of a trading strategy, well, I think that we will likely move lower off this level and come down to the moving averages, which sit at about $32. And then I think we should probably move higher off this level. So I think we'll probably fall to 32, 33 over the coming, 5, 7 days, and then continue higher as bullish momentum continues to build as the stock stays above all daily moving averages, which is a sign of bullish momentum. I believe the moving averages likely move the stock higher and could possibly push the stock above this $42 level. And let's say shares close a day over this $42 level, well, then I would say we likely continue to move higher. So my short-term plan is to wait until shares come down to the moving averages and move higher. Now let's say we move past this resistance level. Well, I would be extremely bullish on the stock if we were able to move past this resistance level. And in terms of kind of a resistance level you can draw in here. At about $47 is where shares had topped out in the past. So that would be another level that I think shares could possibly top out at again. If I could draw this line straight. Yeah, so, with that being said, my trading plan, come down to the moving averages, move higher, hopefully move above this major resistance level, and then, move back to about 46 and likely consolidate. So that is my trading plan for Unity. With that being said, I'll move into some seasonality that we're seeing. So this is definitely on the side of the bulls here. So 5 out of the next 6 months are all bullish months for the stock. That means on average the stock rises in July, August, October, November. So definitely good to see there that obviously the stock's above all daily moving averages and it's moving into a bullish seasonality trend, which is definitely a good sign for the bulls. But with that being said, I will move on to the fundamentals. I know many people are long-term shareholders here, so I definitely want to cover how the stock stacks up relative to peers. And this platform here, Seeking Alpha, is a really good resource for that. So Seeking Alpha basically grades the stock on valuation, growth, profitability, momentum, revisions, and grades it relative to its peers. So valuation D basically means that it has a valuation that is, more pricey, more expensive to its peers. So let's take a deeper dive into that. So as you can see, the forward PE is 90 times, meaning that for every dollar of earnings, there's $90 being invested in the stock, which is pretty expensive. And the sector median is 22, so definitely trading above the sector multiple there, which implies shares are somewhat expensive. With that being said, price to book looks pretty decent here, and price to book, for those that don't know, is basically just putting the market cap relative to the book value, which is just the assets, the value of the assets on the balance sheet. So 4.2 times book means that the market cap is 4.2 times greater than the book value, the assets on the stock's balance sheet. So not too bad there when you consider that. The sector median is 3.14 when you're at 4.22. So not too bad there. And then the whole reason that valuation page looked pretty poor was because growth is expected to be very high, or investors wouldn't be, paying up for the stock, right? So revenue growth year over year was 31%. That is above the sector median of 11%. And then forward revenue growth is 32%, which is also above the sector median of 9.8. And for those that don't know, forward just means the next 12 months. You know, leveraged free cash flow growth is 34% year over year, which is phenomenal, and way above the sector median of 3.7. So pretty good growth metrics here for the stock. Definitely outperformed the peers when you see when you kind of dive into the growth, which you know, kind of shows you why the stock is overvalued technically when you look at the financials. And so this is really, really interesting. So revisions, for those that don't know, is basically just when an analyst, a covering analyst, takes their EPS estimates up or down. So throughout the stock market, there's going to be, you know, a bunch of firms that are covering the stock and trying to predict its EPS and revenue growth quarter to quarter. So JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, they'll all have analysts specifically devoted to this sector and making predictions based on company specific news, consumer data, you know, that sort of thing. So it's a great sign to see that 14 different analysts move their EPS expectations up. You know, that's just a great sign that the fundamentals of the company are improving. And then we also had 16 separate analysts move revenue expectations up. So that is also a good sign. 3 moved them down. So net plus 13, net plus 14. So you're talking about 27 up revisions in the last 3 months for the stock. This tells me that Wall Street is becoming more and more bearish on Unity, which is a great thing for the stock, especially when you consider, you know, a lot of the big money managers are obviously on Wall Street, right? This isn't this isn't, you know, a name that's completely, you know, beholden to retail trading. So definitely need Wall Street to kind of be on your side here for this trade to go good for you, or this trade or investment to go well for you. So with that being said, I will end the video there. If you got some value from this video, please leave a like. We post company breakdowns and important market moving news on this channel on a daily basis, so make sure you are subscribed. If you would like to receive my daily portfolio moves, my exits, my entries, and see how me and my team of analysts are trading the markets, join the Discord through the link in the description below to get our free 7-day trial. Also, if you would like to join our free daily newsletter, sign up to our Substack, which is linked below as well. With that being said, good luck everyone. Happy trading, happy investing.